Hello, I am your host, Cage.
And I'm your other host, Adam.
And welcome to Basically Wizards. Yeah! Alright, so today we are just going to do a short little introductory episode for you guys, kind of talk about what this podcast is. So, I guess kind of to start off with introductions, as I said, my name is Cage. Me and Adam have been good friends for a very, very long time. We grew up in a small town, and we've both just been really good, really big video game fans all of our life. So,
Yep. I mean, yeah, he said it all. We've been friends since literally as long as we can remember, and we've both been playing Nintendo games for literally as long as we can remember.
Yep.
So we thought we might mix those two things and share our thoughts with the world and see if anyone cares to listen along.
Yeah, and I like kind of the format of podcasts like this, especially. They're kind of more laid back, less kind of tightly scripted, because it can be really fun if you're just like at work, if you're going on a walk, if you're going on a long car drive, to just kind of feel like you're in on the conversation by listening to something kind of a little more loose and laid back, and kind of hear our thoughts about things. And of course, if you guys have any thoughts too, we're going to be setting up an email pretty soon for our podcast, and you can always reach out to us, let us know what you're thinking, give us suggestions for episodes or anything like that. So yeah,
definitely, we definitely want to hear user input, but listener input. We're hoping you enjoy just our little rambles. We've been having conversations like this again, like as long as we can remember.
right.
And we just figured other people might like to listen along with them too. I've fallen in love with Nintendo for a long time and video games as a whole. Our name is not just a funny name, although it is a funny name. But we are going to talk about kind of the wizardry that goes into like making games and kind of how impressed we are with the people that make them and what goes into them, and maybe someday we'll discuss our own attempts at making a video game sometime as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've always thought of video games as being a very important medium of art. I know that a lot of people kind of laugh when you talk about video games as a form of art, but I think it is, just in the same way that cinema can be, in the same way that a play can be, in the same way that a nice art piece or sculpture or something can be. And I think video games are particularly impressive and important in the sense of immersion that they can give you, in forms that I don't think other pieces of art really do. Like, if you want to give someone the sense of an adventure, you can try to portray that through a movie or through a book, but I just feel like there's certain emotions and certain feelings that video games really touch on better than any other medium really does, and I think adventure is a great example of that.
Yeah. I would also just add that I think video games are kind of a well of untapped potential. I mean, we have our idea of like what video games typically are, but I mean the potential is so much more. I mean, the potential to create just groundbreaking stories that allow for player choice to influence a story. I feel like we've barely even scratched the surface as to what games can do beyond what we know them as. It's just tools for entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. And the reason that I am such a big Nintendo fan, it comes down to this little game called Super Mario World. When I was 7 years old, I played that game for the first time, and I remember telling everybody in my first grade class that I was Mario for a long time. I was like, yeah, Mario, I'm him, it's me. I would tell everybody. I just loved Super Mario World, and I'd played some other Nintendo games and other video games previous to that, but I feel like that was the first one that really kind of opened my eyes to how video games can be such a medium of art. Like, I've kind of sound like a broken record now, but yeah, really, just impacted me in a way that games hadn't really done before up to that point. So Super Mario World has a fond place in my heart for that reason, but it's also what got me on board with the Nintendo train. For a long time, all I really played was exclusively Mario until about middle school or so, and I decided to kind of experiment with some other Nintendo franchises and stuff. I played some Zelda, some Metroid and stuff, and yeah, if you're a fan of just one franchise from a company, then you're a fan of a franchise. But when you play like 6 different franchises and find them all consistently good and consistently moving, then I guess you're just a Nintendo fan at that point. So
Yep. No, definitely. Yeah, I had a similar story, though my initial game was Super Mario Galaxy. It's still my favorite game of all time, and a lot of nostalgia there as that game just hits me like no other game has before, and I don't know if anything ever will again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up on that. That was kind of my light bulb moment for video games, and I've been on the train ever since. But yeah, real quick, I just want to let's just kind of do just like brief introduction. What do you think differentiates us? What will we bring to the table to this podcast, and then just list our top five-ish games in no particular order. Sure. So people can get a feel for what we're all about.
Yeah. I think what makes us unique is that we're so funny.
We are so funny. No one is funny. We are
nobody
funny.
is funny. Yeah, I think what makes us unique is we have had a connection for a really long time. Like I said, I have known Adam for a really long time. I don't actually remember how we met, although I have made up stories about it for Adam's entertainment before. But yeah, I think just we've got some good chemistry, as well as a lot of kind of unique perspectives we can bring from our personal lives too, that we can kind of project onto the games we're playing, and can cause us to see them in a different way. And yeah, I feel like everybody's kind of got some, unique stories in their lives, and I think that the things that happen in your real lives impact the way that you feel video games, the way that you experience them. And yeah, so I feel like we have some cool perspectives to bring to the table because of that, and maybe we'll even get some special guests on here with cool perspectives as well. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Stay tuned. We've got a wild cast of characters that will definitely be making appearances throughout the show.
Yeah. As far as top 5 games go, do you want to go first? So I can kind of contemplate for a second here.
Sure, yeah, I'll give you a minute to think. But yeah, I would just add as well, just like, yeah, we're very similar. We've been doing this for a long time, so we definitely, I would say we know our stuff, even though our stuff is kind of in a particular niche, and we definitely need to journey outside of our bubble a little more.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely know what we're talking about when we talk about the stuff we know really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give my top 5. Again, this is kind of no particular order. I have Mario Galaxy, obviously, as my number 1. As I said, that game is genius from basically every level, and I have the most nostalgia attached to it than anything else in this world. So
Nice.
that keeps it at number 1 probably forever.
Nice.
I kind of include Mario Galaxy 2 along with that because I love that game almost as much. 1 just edges out a little bit more for me because of the really moody atmosphere and the story being a lot more compelling for me. I have Mother 3 as well, is one of my favorite games of all time. It's the only game that I can remember that has made me sob for minutes and minutes on end.
Same.
I also have Zelda Breath of the Wild as one of my top ones, though as you will see in our first episode, that might be changing with the new game, but I'm going to hold off on putting that in my top 5 quite yet. And then I also have, I'll just name these 3 as my final favorite picks. I'm a big fan of indie games. And some of my big favorites are Hollow Knight, Celeste, and Katana Zero. So
Nice.
definitely give all of those a try. They are just you can find so many good indie games like for so cheap that are like basically give you as rich as an experience as any AAA game ever could.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I would say my top 5 in no particular order. Definitely Super Mario Galaxy is in there as well. That might just be my favorite game, period, honestly. I really love Super Mario Galaxy. It just stirs up emotions unlike anything else, in my opinion. Yeah, I guess I want to restrict myself to just saying one Mario game, so I don't just list those for all of the rest of my top 5.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I also really love Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom as well, but I would also say that I like Majora's Mask / Ocarina of Time equally. They're kind of lumped in there too. And then I would also add in just 2 more. I don't know if this is an exact 5 at this point, but whatever. Tomodachi Life, just because of I don't know. It's just such a funny, quirky game. I don't know that I could argue that it's objectively one of the greatest games ever made by any means, but you know what? It's got a special place in my heart that it can't really be ripped out, you know? Yeah. And then, last but not least, I would say, oh crap, Mother 3. Yeah, put that in there somewhere, Mother 3. But Metroid Prime, baby, Metroid Prime.
I still haven't finished it yet, but I will, I promise.
Yeah,
I will not let you down, Metroid fans.
Which, hey, Metroid Prime, let me tell you, that is a prime example of how your favorite games don't always just have to be stuff from your childhood. I actually played that game for the first time like 3 months ago, and I can pretty certainly say that it is one of my favorite games of all time. So
I know, that is the fun thing. I mean, I feel like sometimes as you get older, the magic starts to wear off a little bit, but
Yep.
I mean, video games, and I feel like Nintendo specifically, are really good at kind of recapturing that childhood imagination. I mean, I never thought something could make me feel like Breath of the Wild did, and
Yeah.
they just released a sequel that basically did exactly that.
Yeah.
So, you know, video games are always evolving and surprising us, and we'll always find new favorites.
Yep, and whether you're somebody who plays a lot of video games or someone who's trying to get into them a little bit more, we invite you not only to listen to our podcast, but to go out and play some games, you know? Because, yeah, you never know when you'll find a new favorite game, a new favorite piece of art. It's just always sitting out there ready for you to play. For all I know, my new favorite top 5 game could be one I haven't even played yet, so...
Yep, no, it's true. Yeah, well, that's basically all we had to say for this opening episode. We're really excited for you guys to tune into our first episode. We've actually already recorded it and we're really happy with how it turned out. It's going to be about, as we've talked about, it's going to be about the new Zelda game, Tears of the Kingdom. And yeah, I hope you guys just stick along for the ride and join in our conversations. And yeah, we're very open to your input as we are very new at this. So feel free to reach out and let us know if you have any suggestions.
And by our 3rd episode, if we're counting this as the first one, we will have a email that we'll give out if you have any sort of comments or suggestions you want to give to us. We don't have it set up right now, so I can't give you a name yet, but it will exist. It will exist.
Yep, it'll be good. All right, well, I think that's all we had for today. So, yeah, we'll sign off. Thanks for listening.
Oh, actually, one bonus question.
Okay, bonus question. We're starting this already.
Yeah. Who is your favorite female in video games?
My favorite female in video games. It seems like a trap question that you've decided to lay.
Not in a sexual sense. Not in a sexual sense. Just
okay.
like
this episode is off to a terrible start.
Just in a like a role model sense,
Okay.
what female game character is a good role model? Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah, I like that question actually. That gives it some interest. The one that's currently popping into my head is, well, I was gonna say one, but I'm gonna shift to another. I mentioned Celeste. I feel like one of my favorite video game characters is Madeline from Celeste, who has inspired me a lot and is a big inspiration for my current book that I'm writing. So I
Nice.
would say that she is a very good role model.
Nice. I love that. I would say for mine would probably be Samus Aran from Metroid, and the reason why.
And who would have guessed that? I could have never guessed that. That's what you would say.
But hear me out. Hear me out. It's not just because she's hot, although that is part of it, But I think that Samus is a great example of what good, strong female representation in media should look like. Because I feel like a lot of the time when it comes to female representation in media, it's like they can't just make it a cool character because they're cool. Like they seem to be like, oh look, they're cool, but they're a girl. Oh look, they're cool, but they wear pink. Oh look, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like Samus is a good way of just kind of being like a good nonchalant, like this is a cool character who happens to be a female. And I feel like that's more of what we need as far as representation goes for female characters in video games, instead of it just being like.
I'm so glad that this conversation has made it into the first episode.
Maybe I'll cut that out. I don't know.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe we'll see.
I don't know if
I had a direction I was going with that. But
I don't know if Cage's story hour on how he thinks females should be in media is first episode material. We got to work our way into that.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, if you've stuck with us this far, I'm sure you'll continue to stick with us through the rest of our show. So keep with it, and we will see you next time.
All right. See you. So, pow.